Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to this final wrap up of this book, Life and Leadership Lessons from Surah al-Kahf by Professor Dr. Hassan Mohi-ud-Din Qadri. We're on the final pages now, the conclusion or chapter 3 of the book, illuminating the path of life with timeless wisdom. As we approach the end of the journey through the profound verses of Surah al-Kahf, it feels only right to pause and reflect on the wisdom we have uncovered together. This surah is not merely a collection of historical accounts or poetic revelations. It serves as a mirror, reflecting our lives, revealing who we are, who we can become, and the path we must tread to fulfill our purpose in this world. Each story within it carries a timeless lesson, serving as a guide that illuminates the way forward, regardless of where we stand in life's complex and often challenging journey. Throughout Surah al-Kahf, we witnessed faith tested, wielded, knowledge sought, and the fleeting nature of worldly success all revealed. These concepts are not abstract. They reflect the very trials we face in our daily lives. The young men of the cave inspire us with their steadfastness, choosing the path of righteousness, even when it means forsaking the comfort and approval and safety. They remind us that faith is not merely a belief, but a lived experience, a force that anchors us when the storms of life threaten to overwhelm us. In our personal lives, this unwavering faith becomes our refuge, helping us to endure hardship with dignity and hope. It encourages us to remain true to our values, even when the world urges us to compromise. Spiritually, it calls us to trust in the unseen and to believe in the divine plan, even when we cannot see it entirely. The parable of the two men and their gardens speaks directly to our hearts in a world obsessed with material success and possessions. How often do we measure our worth by what we own, forgetting that all things in this world are temporary, fleeting shadows that can vanish in an instant? The story is a powerful reminder that true wealth lies not in possessions, but in gratitude, humility, and a heart connected to Allah. It challenges us to reassess our priorities, recognizing that our success is not defined by the size of our bank accounts or the titles we hold, but by the impact we have on others and the sincerity with which we live our lives. Professionally, it urges us to work hard, yes, but always with awareness that our skills, opportunities, and achievements are blessings, not entitlements. When Musa, the prophet Moses, sets out on his journey to seek knowledge from Khidr, the green man, we learn a lesson that transcends time, the importance of humility in learning. How often do we assume we know everything, dismissing others' perspectives or questioning the wisdom behind life's trials? Musa's story humbles us, reminding us that the pursuit of knowledge is a lifelong journey and surrender. In our personal growth, this lesson is invaluable. It teaches us to approach life with open hearts and minds, to trust that every challenge carries within it a lesson, and to recognize that some answers may only be revealed in time. Spiritually, it calls us to accept the mysteries of Allah's plan, finding peace in knowing, sorry, finding peace in knowing that He is the ultimate knower of things, that God is the only one who really knows. The story of al-Qarnayn brings us to the concept of power and responsibility. In a world where leadership is often equated with dominance or privilege, al-Qarnayn's example serves as a beacon of what true leadership looks like. It is rooted in justice, compassion, and service. This story humbles us and inspires us to reflect on the roles we play in the lives of others, whether as parents, friends, mentors, or professionals. It reminds us that every position of influence we hold is a trust, an amana, which we must carry with integrity and wisdom. Power is not an end, but a tool to uplift, to protect, and create positive change. For those striving to lead in any capacity, this story presents a model of what it means to lead with purpose and accountability. As we take a step back and look at the wisdom woven through Surah al-Kahf, we begin to see its underlying message. Life is a journey of tests and opportunities, each designed to bring us closer to our Creator. It challenges us to rise above our fears, our ego, and our worldly attachments, urging us to live with faith, humility, and a deep sense of purpose. The stories of Surah al-Kahf are not meant to remain within the pages of the Quran. They are meant to be lived, to shape our choices and guide us in navigating the complexities of modern life. Whether we are struggling with personal doubts, striving for professional success, or seeking spiritual fulfillment, this surah offers a roadmap, showing us how to balance our worldly pursuits with our eternal goals. As you close this book, I encourage you to carry the light of Surah al-Kahf into every corner of your life. Let its wisdom be the compass that guides you through uncertainty, and the strength that steadies you in the face of challenges, and the inspiration that fuels your aspirations. Reflect often on its teachings. Ask yourself what the companions of the cave would do in moments of doubt, how the man with the gardens would approach success, what Musa would learn from each situation, and how Dhul would lead with justice. These stories are not distant. They are meant to live within us, shaping who we are and how we engage with the world. I pray the wisdom of Surah al-Kahf continues to inspire and guide you. May it deepen your connection with Allah, strengthen your resolve to live with purpose, and remind you that every trial, every success, every moment in this life is an opportunity to draw closer to Him. Let the light of the surah illuminate your path, bringing clarity, peace, and fulfillment to all that you do. The journey through Surah al-Kahf may conclude here, but the lessons remain eternal, waiting for you to embrace and make them your own. May Allah bless you with the strength to live by these teachings and the wisdom to share them with others. Ameen. So that is the conclusion of this book, Life and Leadership Lessons from Surah al-Kahf by Professor Dr. Mohi-ud-Din Qadri. And it's a very good book. And the fact that he brings out the actual practical meaning and the practical lessons of these verses in our times, what they mean for us living modern lives, not necessarily, you know, how things would have been historically, but now, what relevance do these verses have for us now? And they do have relevance. They have great relevance. And the final part of the book here, oh, thank you, I'm glad you like it. The final part of the book here is Surah al-Kahf is not merely a chapter of the Quran to be reflected on Fridays. It is a timeless mirror held before the soul. It invites the reader to pause, to ponder, to transform. The stories within of the people, of the cave, of the two men, and their gardens, Musa and Khidr and Dhul are not just narratives of the past, but spiritual signposts for navigating the trials of identity, wealth, knowledge, and power in every age. This chapter of reflective questions is designed to draw readers into deeper contemplation, beyond the literal meanings, into the ethical, emotional, and existential dimensions of the surah. By engaging with these questions, readers will uncover insights about their own spiritual condition and their leadership style, their responses to divine tests, and their relationship with time, truth, and tawakkul. Tawakkul meaning trust in God. In this sacred dialogue between the text and the self, light of Surah al-Kahf begins to illuminate not just the minds, but the lives. Okay, verse 1 to 8. So this is a list of questions. I'm not going to go through all of this now because, I mean, if you get the book, you can go through it yourself, but I'll just read a few of them. So, preface of Surah. So, it starts with a question. In what ways do I actively seek and reflect upon the divine wisdom offered by the Quran in my daily decisions and challenges? Now, that's a good question, isn't it? How many of us do that? How many of us reflect upon the Quran? And even, I mean, something I do with the Quran is I go along like this and I just like put my finger on it and I select a page. And where my finger lands, I read the verse and I reflect upon it. It's something that I find helpful. And then I think about what that means to me. And something connects in my heart with the meaning of what that is telling me. And I've often found that very helpful. I know this is in the Quran, but I'm just showing you the technique. How often do I pause to consider the temporary nature of worldly pleasures and achievements compared to eternal spiritual fulfillment? How often do we think about that? Whatever we're chasing in this world, all of that is temporary. All of that is passing away. Now, that's not a reason in itself not to, chase these things, not to aspire, not to try to achieve. We should do that. That's part of life. That's part of being human. But putting things into perspective, knowing the limitations of what we're chasing, and putting that within a bigger picture. If we do that, then that actually helps us to contextualize. It helps us to deal with things in a much better way. What steps am I taking to ensure that my actions in this world align with a purpose that extends beyond my immediate gratification? Again, what's the bigger picture? What am I doing? What's my, it's like if you're at school, you will actually be studying to get your GCSEs or to get your A levels, or if you're in university to get your degree. But what's the bigger picture? Why are you doing that? And there's various reasons. You could be studying just to pass so you can get a job. No other reason. You could be studying for that, yes, but also because you actually have a love of knowledge. You want to be more enlightened. You want to understand the world around you better. This is actually a higher objective than simply just chasing, that qualification for your career. There's nothing wrong with doing that, but at the same time, if you actually have a love for knowledge, if you're trying to better yourself and enlighten yourself, this is actually a higher goal than simply just chasing the qualification. Similarly, when you enter the world of work, I mean, you can just do a job to earn money, to support yourself. At the base level, this is fine. This is nothing. There's nothing at all wrong with that. That is also something. I mean, if you achieve and get a good job and you get paid and you can support yourself, you're not depending upon other people. If you get married, you can support your partner, you can support your children. This is good. This is wonderful. There's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, if you can align your work with a higher objective, so instead of just working in a company just to make money, you are working in a company that actually is achieving something that is beneficial for humanity, or is actually making the world a better place for everyone. If you can align it with something like that, then there is more blessing within that work. And you're not simply just earning money, you are earning money and you're doing something which actually contributes both to your personal well-being, because you will actually feel better. I mean, if you're just, let's say, if you're just working in a company and it's just producing something that is making money, and even maybe that product is not even something that's that useful, but it's something that you're just selling to make money, how much gratification are you going to get from that? On the other hand, if you're working in, let's say, a company that has been contracted to plant 3 million trees, and that's actually going to benefit the environment and benefit the world and help, contribute to ensuring that our children live in a better world. So many benefits can come from that. And you're working as part of that. You're going to feel good about it as well, because you're doing something is worthwhile. It's not just making money, you're actually doing something worthwhile. Or if you're working in a company that is actually bringing together, let's say, two countries that used to be at war, and you've got a business that is between those two countries, and those two countries are actually connecting with each other and making money and doing business together, which is actually going to ensure the long-term peace. Let's say, examples in Europe were like I don't know, Airbus, for instance. Airbus is a company that has, you know, plants in Britain, in France, in Germany. Well, during the Second World War, we were at war with the Germans. But thanks to companies like this, our economies become integrated. We are working together, and you know, there's almost no chance of a war now between Britain and Germany or France and Germany. You know, we have connected together. If you're working on something like that, and of course the aircraft themselves are very useful, they're beneficial, they connect the world. I mean, that is something you're going to feel good about. So it could be all sorts of things. I'm not saying there's one size fits all. We're not all meant to be religious scholars. We're not all meant to be university professors. You know, it could be anything. But there's so many ways that if you know that the work that you're doing has a higher objective as well as simply getting paid, and you're happy with that, you're happy with what you're doing, you're going to feel so much more fulfilled. And if you know, like with any of these things, like professors or something that is doing something that's more worthwhile and is of service to humanity. If you do that for the sake of Allah, there is great spiritual rewards in that as well. You're actually contributing to your akhirah. It doesn't have to be labeled as something which is Islamic. It just needs to be something which is beneficial and worthwhile. And that actually can become an act of worship as well as your work. So, I mean, I hope you found these podcasts and my contents useful. Next week, we will be moving on to another book. The book that we have been reading is this one, Life and Leadership Lessons from Surah al-Kahf by Professor Dr. Hassan Mohi-ud-Din Qadri. As you know, the podcast which I do on a Friday or Saturday is based on a book, Friday Reflections. And I know it's not always on a Friday these days, but my reflections ones. And the podcast, which is on a Monday, will be on another topic. Also, tomorrow we've got a special podcast where I will be interviewing Rabbi Eli Abadi. So I'm hoping that you can join me for that on YouTube. And you know, you're most welcome. I'm looking forward to seeing you all there. And also, if you can, you know, like and subscribe to these videos, please do share my videos, my contents, and my channels with whoever may find them useful. And there is a buy me a coffee link. If you subscribe to that, then you can actually, you know, get spiritual blessings for what you're doing as well, because it's you actually contributing to me being able to focus on producing content. And on the other hand, I'm also going to, when that builds up a bit, I'm going to actually set up a monthly YouTube meeting with all of those people who are subscribers to my Buy Me a Coffee. And you'll be able to speak to me directly, not like I'm broadcasting now, but actually speak to me directly, ask me questions, share your thoughts with me, and ask for my thoughts, whatever you want to do within that meeting, within reason. And I'm looking forward to that, so I can actually connect with you a lot more closely than I can with just these broadcasts. So if you want to subscribe and contribute, that's the way that you can do that. And I'm going to sign off now. I'll be back tomorrow for this podcast with Rabbi Eli. And until then, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. May God's peace and blessings be with you all. Good night.